Hey guys, this is Locke. In this video, I'm going to show a quick damage test between Cosette and Evan Plus to see who does more damage in a certain period of time. So to do this test, I'm going to be looking at the hard stage, one star hard stage monsters. So this is the setup that I'm using. I will show you the stats once I'm in the screen. Sorry, once I'm in the battle screen, I mean. So this is the run. So let's take a quick look at Evan's stats. So he has 13k attack, 3000 defense. Pay attention to his level. He's only level 38, whereas Cosette is 46. So there's already, a pretty significant difference there. But that's all I have. I mean, that's all I can show you. Um, he has a 71% crit, 70% crit damage, and you can look at the other stats too if you're interested. And what I'm going to do is, after he defeats this monster, I'm also going to wait for him to defeat the next monster, and then I'm going to look at the time that it takes him to kill both of these monsters, and then compare that with Cosette. Now, how much is the difference of 8 levels? I think it is pretty significant, but at the same time, I've also been out DPS'd in an 8-man raid with a level 46 Cosette by a level 40 Evan. So, I mean, while level is important, you know, it does add a bit of stats, but I think it's still possible to kind of get a good idea of how much damage they do just by looking at it, even if you don't even if their levels are a bit different. I think the real indicator is the equipment that you use. Like, I mean, the level 40 Evan that out DPS'd my Cosette had, I think, 70k CP, whereas my Cosette had just barely over 60k. So I mean, 10k difference of CP is like way more significant than, I think, 8 levels, right? So I think the best indicator is to really put the same equipment on both of them, and so that's why I'm showing you this test. You can make your own conclusions regarding the level and see how much difference that would have made. So let's see, we're almost done here. We'll take a look. And there's also some other differences between, this, like, you know, this test versus raids. So quickly, let's look at the time. 1 minute and 48 seconds. Okay, so let's take a look and see how fast Cosette can kill these. So the exact same thing, I'm just going to switch the equipment over to Cosette. And I am using the crit formation in case you guys didn't catch that. So I'm using the attack gear on both of them. Typically, Cosette would wear crit gear in raids and stuff. So so I'm going to tell you one of the differences between the two. Like differences meaning, like, a test in field exploration versus a test in 8-man raid or 4-man raid where you're playing with other players, the multiplayer raids. So right now I'm using a crit pet, and I'm also using the crit formation, which is significantly boosting Cosette's crit. So you can see her stats here: 14k attack. Her crit rate is about 71%. Now, if she did not have, if I was doing an 8-man raid, I will have a much lower crit rate because she's getting 22% from the pet, and I think like 10% or something from the crit formation. So if you take that off, her rate will be a lot lower. Her crit rate will be a lot lower. So I would really need to bring a crit set into the multiplayer raid for her to do consistent damage, whereas I don't need to do that with Evan. So already there's a discrepancy in the 8-man raid. Like, I think regardless of this test, Evan's DPS output is going to be a lot higher than Cosette's when it comes to an 8-man raid, especially if something like Salos raid, right? Because they're both kind of standing still and attacking. So you know, this is just to give you an idea, but there are other factors to consider as well. So anyway, Evans was 1.48. Let's take a look at what Cosette's will be. And also depends how many crits she actually gets with this. Okay, so her DPS was 1.33 or so. So about 15 seconds less, right? 1.48 minus 1.33. Yeah, so Cosette was able to beat the two monsters about 15 seconds earlier. But she does have an advantage because she is 8 levels higher. And again, in the multiplayer raids, with the exact same setup, I think Evan will do a lot more damage simply because Cosette's crit rate will be a lot lower because no crit pet. And how much is the crit rate from the formation? 10%. So her crit rate would be lower by about 33%. Yeah. So because of that, she will have to bring a crit set, and if she's bringing a crit set, then she's going to do less damage than an attack set, and so on and so on. So, I mean, I'm already kind of really surprised by Evan's output. I mean, Cosette just beat him by 15 seconds, and this is, a higher level Cosette, right? Um, so I'm really surprised. I thought Cosette would beat his damage output by, like way more. So it's really surprising to see that he's already coming pretty close. And an 8-man raid sees with the exact same setup. I'm sure he will do more damage than Cosette. So I wanted to give you guys an idea. Oh, did I change my recommendation about Evan? I don't. I still think that you can only bring one of these guys for the typical 4-man raid. And so if you're bringing one and you already have a free Cosette that you got from the carnival, like sure, Evan is useful, I guess, and he does the same, if not a little bit better or a little bit worse damage than Cosette, but you can only bring one of them anyway. So for a purely PvE standpoint, I don't really recommend him because, I mean, you can look at my review video on him if you want to really get a better understanding of that. But I do think he's very strong as an overall unit because he's also very good in PvP as well and falls in and out of favor in PvP. So as an overall unit, and if you really like him, yeah, I do suggest you get him because he is very strong. But if you are only looking at him like, yeah, he's going to do a lot of damage for PvP, sorry, he's going to do a lot of damage for PvE, then because everyone should have Cosette by now, that's the only reason I don't recommend him for PvE. For some reason, you just happen to not have Cosette, you picked somebody else, or you don't like Cosette or something, then yes, I 100% recommend that you go for him purely from a PvE standpoint, because if you don't have Cosette, he is the best damage dealer out there. And, you know, that's it. So I hope this video gives you an idea of the difference between their damage outputs and what you can kind of expect with the exact same equipment on both of them. So anyway, that's it from me. I will see you guys next time. Take care now.